Now on My 58.
It's back and forth. It's unacceptable. Why is my paycheck in limbo?
Uncertainty continues for federal workers. President Trump reopening the government, but why some fear it won't last long.
I really don't want to leave at the end of the day.
Tears from teachers, parents, and students. A beloved preschool closing in Placer County. How it's helping students find somewhere else to go. And the cause of the Tubbs fire. A CAL FIRE report shows PG&E is not at fault. Santa Rosa leaders explain why they are not dropping their lawsuit against the company.
Where the news comes first. KCRA 3 News at 10 on My 58.
The nation's longest government shutdown is over tonight. President Trump signed a bill earlier temporarily reopening the government. 800,000 federal employees will soon get paychecks and return to work on Monday. But tonight, some workers are concerned this government shutdown may happen again. The president tweeted that not a concession on his $5.6 billion border wall.
It's back and forth. It's unacceptable. Why is my paycheck in limbo? They're the ones not doing their jobs. They're the ones that should not be getting paid.
And Congress has just 3 weeks to find a solution. KCRA 3's Emily Maha spoke with a woman who has been working without pay during the shutdown, and she says even with the government reopened, she is still worried about the future.
Stephanie Milliken came to work here at the federal courthouse every day during the government shutdown, even though she wasn't getting paid. She says now that the government's reopened, she's worried lawmakers won't reach an agreement by the deadline next month.
It's stressful to sit here and try to figure all of these things out.
When we first talked with Milliken earlier this month, she was angry about the government shutdown. Now she's thinking ahead to what will happen if a budget deal isn't reached by the new February 15th deadline.
We have to go back through it in 3 more weeks.
Standing in the Rose Garden today, President Donald Trump announced he'd reached a deal with lawmakers to temporarily reopen the government. The president says he wants full funding for a border wall, saying he is prepared to shut the government down again if that doesn't happen.
I'm still going to hold back some money because I don't know what's going to happen February 15th, and I don't know how long this is going to go on.
Milliken says lawmakers in Washington need to figure out how to work together.
They're elected to sit down and be mature and negotiate and come up with the best policies and laws for our country. And that's what's expected, and there should be nothing less.
She says it's up to voters to hold them accountable.
Call these offices and call these politicians.
Milliken says she is expecting to get paid. She's been told it could be sometime in the next week. Emily Maha, KCRA 3 News.
And the administration has asked federal department heads to reopen offices in a prompt and orderly manner so employees can return to work. We're also seeing reaction from lawmakers tonight. Sacramento area Congressman Ami Bera watched the president's announcement from the KCRA 3 newsroom earlier. He says the ball is now in Congress's court, and any long-term deal will require compromise on behalf of both Democrats and Republicans. And Bera offered this advice to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
When you assign those members on the Democratic side of the House of Representatives to go negotiate, make sure they go into this with open ears, listening to all ideas. And, you know, I don't know if we can get a comprehensive immigration solution in 3 weeks. It's complicated. We've worked on this for years. But at least let's start the ball rolling. Let's build some trust amongst the members of Congress and the Senate, Democrats and Republicans, so that after 3 weeks, we can actually work on some of these issues that we all agree are important to America.
And Republican Congressman Tom McClintock also came to KCRA 3 to share his thoughts on today's announcement. He believes the president did the right thing by reopening the government, and McClintock thinks the wall will be built with or without the approval of Congress.
At some point, this couldn't go on much longer. The air traffic control system was beginning to buckle. There had to be an adult in the room to say, look, we can't continue down this path. We are at an impasse. He did that, but now I think he's in a very strong position to say, and in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to build the thing anyway, so you can either negotiate over the next 3 weeks and we'll come up with a bipartisan compromise, or I'll build it anyway.
And Democrat Josh Harder, who represents San Joaquin and Stanislaus counties, tweeted, "This shutdown should never have happened, but glad that the president and leaders in both houses have agreed to compromise. Let's put this sad episode behind us so both sides can work on a permanent solution to fund our government, secure our border, and fight for Central Valley families." And Sacramento Representative Doris Matsui sent out this statement: "We must come together to strike a common sense deal that funds the government through 2019 while working on smart and effective border security measures." Right now in Davis, police are searching for a man who sexually assaulted a 10-year-old this morning. At 5:30, officers responded to Cowell Boulevard, and that's where they believe the child was home alone and home at knife point and assaulted. And this is the man they are looking for now, 40-year-old Mario Rodas. They say he knows the child well. He's from Mexico, and he is considered to be a flight risk. If you know where this man is, call Davis Police. In Modesto, police are searching for an armed robber. Investigators say this man, 18-year-old Manuel Flores, is linked to 2 crimes. The first was an armed robbery at a Chevron gas station. Investigators say Flores took money from the cash register. And then 2 days ago, police say he stole a cell phone from a Modesto high school student. In Sacramento, a man's under arrest accused of leading police on a chase and then intentionally ramming into a patrol car. 35-year-old Michael Kennedy is behind bars tonight. Police say he led them on a chase at El Camino Avenue and Clay Street just before 2:30 this morning. He crashed into a patrol car, eventually lost control, then crashed into 4 parked vehicles as well. Police say he was on drugs at the time. And tonight, there's a warning for drivers in South Lake Tahoe. Police are seeing a sharp increase in car thefts. The police department says it's investigated 70 car thefts last year. That's a 30% rise from 2 years ago. And most of them are stolen with the keys left inside because owners just get forgetful or they leave the car unattended while it's warming up on a cold day. Police say drivers need to take precautions and be smarter about locking up their cars. New tonight, the California Department of Education has completed its investigation of Guiding Hands School in El Dorado Hills. That's the school that serves special needs students and recently lost its certification because of the death of a student. This was the last day of operation for Guiding Hands. A 13-year-old student with special needs died back in November after he was restrained by staff. Now, the parents of about 150 students are going to have to find a new place to take their children. State Superintendent Tony Thurmond says Guiding Hands' refusal to take responsibility for its actions is disheartening. It would be an injustice to the families we serve if we did not do everything within our authority to ensure that students are placed in an environment where their safety is the #1 priority. But the school also released a statement today, and it says that it categorically denies the state's allegations and the false information being distributed. The Department of Education says it is taking steps to address how the state can have more oversight and accountability of privately run schools in the future. Closing its doors for good, a preschool in Placer County shut down today. It's the 2nd this month, and now some parents are feeling stressed.
All of our kids are getting split apart because there's no place that can take us all. There's 83 students here.
And Brighton Preschool in Granite Bay closed down just 4 hours ago. KCRA 3's Walter McCalla was there as the parents and staff said their final goodbyes.
An emotional farewell.
And there's never going to be a place like this ever again.
Melody Hack says working here has been one of the highlights of her professional career.
How excited I am to come to work every day. And I really don't want to leave at the end of the day. Yes, some days you want to leave, but...
Parents and staff were notified 2 weeks ago that the school, along with its second location in Folsom, would be closing for good. That location shut down on the 15th of this month.
It has been my honor to be part of Brighton Schools for 23 years. I raised my son here, and he was a teacher here for many years as well.
Parents are now in the difficult position of enrolling their kids in new schools mid-year.
Well, it gives us anxiety. Now it's back to putting your kids in new school, new teachers.
Although one of the owners wouldn't specify the reason why the school was closing, parents told us the buildings were for sale and an agreement couldn't be worked out.
This is truly one of the most devastating and heartbreaking situations of my own personal life, and we've just all, as a team, been trying to work through it.
This parent said although it's a difficult day, Monday will be worse.
It was really hard for me to begin with, to find a place to trust for my kids. I went to 5 daycares. none of them felt right.
A sad day for all. But owner Krista Green says the kids and staff will always have a special place in her heart.
I am going to miss them terribly, and I'm so glad that so many of them are going to stay in touch with me so that I can watch them grow up.
In Granite Bay, Walter McCullough, KCRA 3 News.
And every parent Walter spoke with tonight said although they're disappointed, the staff at Brighton have been extremely supportive, they say, in terms of helping their kids get enrolled in other schools in the area. Sacramento City Unified School District is fighting to avoid bankruptcy, and officials need to find $16 million in cuts by November to avoid being turned over to the state. However, in order to balance the budget, the district needs to find $35 million in cuts over the next 2 years. Sacramento County's Superintendent Dave Gordon rejected the budget for the first time ever in the district's history. He says it's been relying too much on deficit spending. It's also in contract negotiations with 4 of the 5 labor unions. Discussions with the largest union, the Sacramento City Teachers Association, have stalled, and the union is seriously considering a strike.
It's going to be very difficult for us to achieve the cost savings we need if not all bargaining partners are at the table.
I think that teachers are pretty fed up. I think the district desperately needs to improve its leadership, improve its skill level to do the job that they've been hired to do.
And if Sac City Unified is turned over to the state, the superintendent and the elected school board would be removed. Also in Sacramento, sex education took center stage on the south steps of the state capitol. A group called Informed Parents of California argued that parents aren't getting enough control over what their children learn and how age appropriate that information is. They say some of what the children are being taught is inappropriate and too graphic.
We can't opt out of that. We can't opt out of any of that ideology that is not consistent with what a lot of cultures and a lot of people of faith and otherwise believe.
All of this curriculum is vetted and is age appropriate. Once again, we want students and families to understand that this is about ensuring that we are providing information to children at critical ages.
The Education Department tells us that the use of instructional materials in the health framework is a district-level decision. KCRA 3 weather now. Here's a live look at downtown Sacramento and looking ahead to a beautiful weekend with some comfortable temperatures. Let's check in with meteorologist Dirk Fedor now.
Yeah, it just gets a little chilly overnight, and temperatures are starting to drop off right now. We're in the 40s up and down the valley, down to 41 degrees in Yuba City, 40 in Fairfield, 45 in Auburn, and currently 27 degrees at Lake Tahoe. Your day is going to shape up like this for your Saturday. We'll start off with temperatures in the upper 30s to around 40 degrees with some patchy areas of fog. It shouldn't be too extensive, and I don't think it's going to last very long. Temperatures will warm up with mostly sunny to sunny skies by noontime to 57 degrees. We'll see temperatures peaking in the mid-60s through the afternoon. Sunset at 5:21, and a few clouds start to creep in as we make our way towards the evening hours and overnight with temperature of 47 degrees by 10 p.m. Looks like your weekend's going to be dry, but we're talking rain in the forecast. We'll have that coming up.
All right, Dirk, thanks. Still to come here on the news at 10, groundbreaking business plans for Sacramento's first distillery. Plus, captured on helmet cam, a new look at yesterday's warehouse fire in Stockton and the trouble investigators are running into. Also, a report that's taking blame away from PG&E, why Santa Rosa officials say they are still suing the utility over the Tubbs fire. And the Sacramento River Cats are hiring tomorrow. We'll tell you what the team is looking for.